Hello friends, welcome to today's daily devotion. We are in John, the second chapter. Today we are reading from verse 12 through 17. Hear now these words. After this, Jesus went down to Capernaum with his mother and brothers and his disciples. There they stayed for a few days. When it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple courts, he found people selling cattle, sheep, and doves, and others sitting at tables exchanging money. So he made a whip out of cords and drove them all from the temple courts, both sheep and cattle. He scattered the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. To those who sold doves, he said, "Get out of here! Stop turning my Father's house into a market." His disciples remembered that it was written, "Zeal for your house will consume me." There are a couple of really interesting things about this portion of John's Gospel. First of all, it's that sneaky thing that happened in verse 12. After this, Jesus went to Capernaum with his mother and brothers and his disciples. There they stayed for a few days. Jesus is engaging with his family, his mom and his brothers. Did you catch that? His brothers. Jesus was not an only child. Mary had other children. Now, if you go talk to a Roman Catholic, they're going to say that these are Mary's stepchildren, that they were from Joseph, because they have the idea that Joseph was an older man and Mary was a second wife. And they do that because they've bought into the expectation that Mary was the perpetual virgin. Now, I'm not Roman Catholic. I'm not going to disparage their beliefs, but I don't think the scriptures make it clear enough for us to determine whether Mary had other children directly or if she was a stepmom. That's really immaterial. The thing that is material is that they had a family unit, a household that had Jesus growing up with other brothers. And Mary and Jesus and his disciples are all together there. The second sneaky thing about this part of John's Gospel is this is very early on in Jesus' ministry, and he's having this battle in the temple, drawing attention to himself by making a riot happen. Now, if you go look at the other three Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they have this episode happening in the very last week of Jesus' life, at the very end of the stories. So how do we reconcile what John is describing and what those stories were describing? Well, I'm not sure that we can easily resolve it. All we can do is look at the context of the story itself. And here's the context. People were trying to be religious and doing it all wrong. That's why Jesus got angry. That's why Jesus threw out the money changers. Because you see, they got it all caught up focusing on the transactions, the money and the cattle and the sheep and the doves being used for the sacrifice. And it was all about get more, get more, get more. When sacrifice is always about give more, give more, give more. So if there's anything for us to learn from today's devotion, is the importance of a gathered family unit and the importance of worshiping God right in sacrifice of praise rather than trying to gain an accumulation out of religion. Something to ponder our society today. What are we doing? We're getting rid of the family connections and trying to make ourselves all by ourselves. That's why divorce is so bad, why cohabitation and breakup is happening all the time, and how many people use religion as something other than what God intended it. We need to get back to the basics. Let's ask God to show us how best we can live according to Jesus' way of living. And I'll see you tomorrow for another daily devotion.